Hello and welcome to In Depth. I'm Tina Jha. India's eastern neighbor Bangladesh is set to witness general elections on Sunday. A 10 crore electorate will decide whether incumbent Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina will be given a record third term or the reins will be handed to the opposition BNP, whose chief Khaleda Zia has been jailed on charges of corruption. The elections were earlier slated for 23rd December but were postponed by a week following demands by opposition alliances. In the run-up to the elections, Bangladesh witnessed widespread violence between the government and the opposition. Thousands of army troops have been deployed across the country to provide security and also help conduct the elections peacefully. Today in In-Depth, we look at what makes it a high-stakes election in Bangladesh. Why is it a litmus test for democracy in the neighbor? And how will election results impact the Indo-Bangla relations? In Bangladesh, the contest is between the ruling Awami League and the opposition BNP. Incumbent Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is seeking a record third term in office, while the BNP is fighting to regain power after more than a decade. The Bangladesh Jatiya Sangsad, or the House of the Nation, is the top unicameral lawmaking body of the country. It has 350 members. 300 are elected by voting in a first-past-the-post format in single-member constituencies. The remaining 50 seats are reserved for women, distributed on the basis of vote share of the contesting political parties. This time, voting will take place for 299 seats in a single phase. Election on one seat was postponed after the death of a candidate. 39 parties are fielding candidates in the elections. The main contest is between the Bangladesh Awami League and the Bangladesh National Party. The Awami League has been in power for a decade. In 2008, the party, led by Sheikh Hasina, got a huge victory. In 2014, it had a walkover, but most other registered parties boycotted the election. Prime Minister Hasina is now seeking a third term in office. The Awami League is spearheading the Grand Alliance, comprising of the Jatiya Party, the Jatiya Samajtantrik Dal, the Bangladesh Tariqat Federation, the Workers' Party, and Bikalp Dhara Bangladesh. The BNP is the largest opposition party, but the party looks weakened owing to its chief Khaleda Zia being jailed and banned from contesting since February for alleged corruption. In her absence, the BNP has allied itself with former Law Minister and Gono Forum President Dr. Kamal Hussain to form the Jatiya Oikya Front Alliance. The Krishak Shramik Janata League, the Jatiya Samajtantrik Dal and the Nagorik Oika are also part of the Jatiya Oikya Alliance. Kamal Hussain is leading the Jatiya Oika Alliance, but not contesting himself. Therefore, it is not clear who will be the Prime Minister if the opposition alliance wins. The BNP is also part of a separate alliance called the 20-Party Alliance that comprises of the Liberal Democratic Party, the Khilafat Majlis, the Bangladesh Kalyan Party, the Jamiat-e-Ulema-e-Islam, the Jatiya Party Qazi Zafar, the National People's Party and the Labour Party. There is also a Left Democratic Alliance comprising of parties like the Communist Party of Bangladesh, the Bangladesh Samajtantrik Dal and the Revolutionary Workers' Party of Bangladesh. The parliamentary elections in Bangladesh are a litmus test for the future of democracy in the world's 8th most populous country. As many as 188 observers of 9 international organizations and a dozen foreign missions in Bangladesh are all set to oversee the parliamentary election amid allegations of state coercion. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Ahead of the 11th parliamentary election, there are a host of issues which the ruling Awami League and the opposition parties highlighted in their manifestos. Let's take a look at some of them.
Elections in Bangladesh are slated to take place on 30th December 2018. It will be the 11th time the country will be holding a parliamentary election. The elections come at a time when the Bangladesh Awami League government is being accused of authoritarianism. Stakes are also high for the de facto opposition, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, that boycotted the 2014 polls and is looking to re-enter the parliamentary fray after 5 years. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who leads the Awami League, has been in power for a decade. After her first stint as Prime Minister from 1996 to 2001, she returned to power in 2009 and was re-elected in the 2014 general elections that saw low turnouts and extraordinary political violence. Bangladesh has undergone rapid change, particularly in the economic domain in the last decade. Owing largely to an export-led economy, the GDP has grown steadily, with an average annual growth rate of around 6% from 2009 to 2017. Yet, these gains have been marred by growing inequality, youth unemployment, outward migration of labor, and deteriorating conditions for workers.
The issues are clearly domestic, of course, for Bangladesh. It's about democracy, the larger issue of democracy for a country which is relatively young in South Asia and which has also gone through a lot of military stronghold and military choking phase. For Sheikh Hasina, it's the question of a liberal, secular identity of Bangladesh. In fact, which is the reason why the BNP was voted out. Khalida Zia, the former president, was voted out because hers was a party that was considered hand in gloves with the Jamaat, with the conservative forces. So it's not just about the very secular identity of Bangladesh, it's about Bangladesh which has also moved on to the trajectory as a country which is young, with a young population of its own growth and development now, because it is one of the fastest developing economies in the developing world today, if you look at Bangladesh.
More recently, Hasina has drawn criticism for her government's attack on critics and the excessive use of force on peaceful protesters, students demanding reservation for government jobs, or protesting against traffic-related deaths. In the sphere of media freedom, the Information and Communications Technology Act has been labelled draconian both locally and internationally. The recently enacted Digital Security Act has further expanded state power to monitor freedom of speech. Bangladesh and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina have been praised for the government's acceptance of over 6 lakh Rohingya refugees following a brutal military campaign against Rohingyas in Rakhine State by Myanmar's armed forces.
So the issue of the court, the participation by the opposition parties, these are the new issues which are likely to affect the results of the elections. The Awami League party of Sheikh Hasina, of course, has been supported by the Jatiyo Bangladesh party of General Irshad. So they have some colleagues, as it's not that it is without any coalition partners, but the point is that it will not be an easy run. And then the UN Secretary General has therefore advised the political parties to have peaceful elections and to see that there is no violence.
When it comes to electoral issues, the BNP manifesto reflects a mix of generic promises: good governance, rule of law, transparency, fundamental rights, anti-corruption and anti-terrorism, transparent appointment of judges and independent judiciary. The Jatiya Oikya Front Alliance manifesto, on the other hand, promises greater powers to the government's anti-corruption body, substantially decrease quotas for government jobs, introduce an upper chamber in the parliament, scrap the Digital Securities Act and allow MPs to vote against their parties in the House. On the other hand, the Left Democratic Alliance, comprising 8 left parties, has also demanded the abolition of the recently enacted Digital Security Act. The Awami League, meanwhile, will be contesting the elections with an alliance of its own, which includes the official opposition, the Jatiya Party. It has announced a youth-centric manifesto and emphasizes on its prosecution of the Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami leaders who were found guilty of war crimes during 1971 Liberation War. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Election campaigning in Bangladesh was marred by violence and allegations of intimidation and coercion against the ruling Awami League. Opposition parties have claimed that the Sheikh Hasina-led government is trying to create an atmosphere of fear. 6 people were killed and hundreds injured in election-related violence in the neighboring country. The run-up to Bangladesh elections saw widespread violence, allegations of state coercion and wrangling between the government and the opposition. Campaigning for the general elections ended on Friday after weeks of violence. 6 people, including 4 BNP supporters and 2 from Awami League, were killed and hundreds injured in election-related violence. On December 25th, opposition parties released figures to show that over 10,500 members and workers of opposition parties were arrested by the police since the election schedule was announced. The opposition also claimed the arrests were meant to create a climate of fear and push the party out of electoral fray.
সারা বাংলাদেশে বিএনপি যত বিরোধী দলের যত নেতাকর্মী আছে কাউকে বাসায় থাকতে দিচ্ছে না এবং যাকে যেখানে পারতেছে সেখান থেকে অ্যারেস্ট করে নিয়ে আসতেছে কোর্টে। বাংলাদেশে কোনো নির্বাচন হচ্ছে না, এটা হচ্ছে বাংলাদেশ থেকে জনগণকে নির্বাচিত করার একটা প্রক্রিয়া।
On December 14th, ruling party activists wielding sticks and stones attacked the convoy of a veteran opposition leader, Kamal Hussain, in Dhaka, injuring 12 people.
এটা পুলিশরা সব জেনে রাখো, চিরদিন তো যারা বিদেশি অবৈধ আদেশ দিচ্ছে, বেআইনি আদেশ দিচ্ছে, এরা চিরস্থায়ী কেউ না কেউ কোনোদিন চিরস্থায়ী হয় না।
Kamal Hussain is leading the National Unity Front Alliance as BNP chief 73-year-old Khalida Zia is languishing in jail. Zia has been barred from contesting elections on corruption charges, which she calls politically motivated. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party claimed 4 of their workers have been killed and over 12,300 injured. The Khalida Zia-led party said at least 152 BNP candidates were attacked and hundreds of activists injured in clashes since the campaign began. The Awami League in turn alleged that the BNP and its partners were behind attacks that killed at least 6 of its workers over the past 3 weeks. The army was also deployed this week to oversee the campaigning process and curb election-related violence. The opposition alliance has demanded the resignation of the chief election commissioner, accusing him of bias. The NUF claimed that CEC Nurul Huda paid no heed to their concerns over instances of attacks on opposition leaders. Authorities also blocked BNP's website last week, claiming it contained indecent and obscene material, also taking down their Facebook page. Opposition claims that the move was ordered by the ruling Awami League. The Awami League, though, has denied all allegations of violence and intimidation. Meanwhile, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called for free, fair and peaceful polls in the country without any intimidation and coercion. The US has also raised concerns over the Sunday vote in Bangladesh, urging the government to uphold its commitment to a democratic process. With inputs from Astha Kulshresht, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is hoping to secure a 3rd consecutive term in office as the country heads for a single-phase election. The 2018 polls may take India-Bangladesh relations to newer heights, but with that, it also brings forth a certain amount of skepticism for India.
Bangladesh and India share a 4,000-kilometer long border that has been marred by ethnic conflicts. Also being strategically located, neighboring China has time and again tried to woo Bangladesh. But for India, Dhaka is a key component in its Look East policy. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has always had cordial relations with India. Under her regime, ties between Delhi and Dhaka have improved on all fronts. But when Khalida Zia, the first woman Bangladesh Prime Minister, was in power, the relationship with India was not as strong as it is now in 2018. Under Sheikh Hasina, boundary disputes have been settled amicably. Strong security cooperation has been established and significant progress has been made in settling differences on Teesta River water sharing. Bilateral trade and India's investment in Bangladesh has also picked up. Several bus and train routes connecting the two countries have been operationalized. After Sheikh Hasina's visit to India in 2017, there has been a renewed focus on improving connectivity between the two countries.
course, what government comes into Dhaka is of absolute consequence to India, particularly in South Asia, where we have a rough and a volatile neighborhood. And Bangladesh is one of the finer success stories for India, because otherwise, if you see Pakistan, the relationship is always blow hot, blow cold. It's bloody on most occasions. If you look at Nepal or Maldives or Myanmar, in Maldives, you now have a Soli government, which has been a huge relief for India with the pro-Chinese, authoritarian ruler Yamin ousted in recent elections. Sri Lanka, look at the kind of political crisis that's happening. In Dhaka, it is important both for strategic relations, security perspectives, also the enforcers of radicalization. Remember, Sheikh Hasina government has really cracked down upon all these anti-India groups that have been operating from Bangladeshi soil. So Sheikh Hasina's own personal, in fact, chemistry with Narendra Modi has been good so far. The two have met frequently. They have jointly inaugurated development projects.
India has also reciprocated in equal measure. Around a dozen agreements have been signed with Dhaka. India has committed $10 billion of private investment. New Delhi has approved a $7.5 billion for infrastructure and other projects in Bangladesh. Both sides have agreed to explore other areas of cooperation. India and Bangladesh have established deep security cooperation. Intelligence agencies of both the countries have developed a close working relationship.
Sheikh Hasina has done a lot for the people in Bangladesh, and I think that is a very important force of stability in the region. The terrorist elements who have been trying to destabilize Bangladesh, they have been treated quite harshly, and I think therefore it is a signal for terrorists and for Pakistan-based terrorists not to spread their wings too far.
Even the BNP has realized that even if it were to come back to power, it would have to deal with India, because it's not just about the loans that you get in from China or Japan. The relationship with India has a completely new dynamics. The number of Bangladeshis are actually the highest number of people in terms of the visas being issued by India to any country worldwide. Bangladeshis who now have a higher purchasing power, higher, in fact, income levels, they are traveling to India for medical reasons, simply for shopping reasons, for a host of reasons. So for Bangladesh's own, in fact, interest and India's own interest, India is playing a wait-and-watch role. It's not really taking sides in the elections, but we do know that it does consider that the Sheikh Hasina government has been, by and large, of course, far more friendlier and favourable and, in fact, far better disposed to New Delhi's security concerns.
Even though former Bangladesh Prime Minister Khalida Zia is in jail, she cannot be written off completely from the polls. Her Bangladesh Nationalist Party is counting on allies to mount a challenge to the Prime Minister. The fact remains, there was immense trust deficit between India and Bangladesh in her tenure. Zia did try to turn the page in 2012 when she called on the President Pranab Mukherjee and then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in Delhi. These high-level meetings were followed by talks with leaders from both the sides of the political spectrum. After losing power, Zia faced major roadblocks in mounting a comeback. She is currently serving a 10-year jail term for corruption. Both Sheikh Hasina and Khalida Zia have dominated the political landscape of Dhaka for the past 30 years. The results of upcoming polls will decide the future ties between Delhi and Dhaka. With inputs from Astha, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's it from us in today's edition of In Depth. You can also watch our episodes online on YouTube and Twitter and get back to us with your feedback and valuable suggestions. Thanks very much for your time.